All right. Hello, and welcome to this episode of our BigCommerce Solution Series. I'm Katie Hosley. I'm a senior developer advocate at BigCommerce, and today I'm joined by Stephen Hilliard, our other developer advocate at BigCommerce, and Bryan Smith, the principal product manager at WordPress Engine. Welcome, Bryan.
Hey, Katie, thanks for having me.
No problem. We're excited about this. Today, Bryan is going to walk through some WordPress Engine stuff about the BigCommerce Blueprint for Atlas. And we're going to get to see him kind of walk through it and learn a little more about it. So, Bryan, you can take it away whenever you're ready.
Awesome, thank you. So yeah, today we're going to talk about a BigCommerce integration that we've done on the WP Engine side. It's for our headless platform that we call Atlas, which I'll introduce to you here in just a minute. But really what I hope you'll take away today is that you can spin up a fully functioning headless starter website integrated with BigCommerce in less than 10 minutes. You can do that for free. It's free to try on our website as well. So go try it if it's interesting to you. All right, so first off, let me just introduce Atlas. So this is our headless Node.js front end that we've built out over the last couple of years. So if you have a backend commerce engine like BigCommerce, you can host the front end on our Atlas platform. We are WP Engine, WordPress Engine, so WordPress is a key part of that as well. So Atlas is an all-in-one headless platform, is what we like to call it, because we host the WordPress backend piece, the CMS portion, as well as that Node.js front end. And we've done a lot of things to make headless WordPress not only possible, but really thrive within this context. And with this integration, you can now make it work with your BigCommerce site. Here is our case study. So we recently launched our first customer. This is a BigCommerce customer called Combat Corner. They're a mixed martial arts equipment supplier and a longtime BigCommerce customer, and recently have become a WP Engine Atlas customer. And when they launched their site back in May, they're seeing a 431% performance increase as a result of launching that headless front end on Atlas. They're using our connector that I will demo for you here in just a little bit. But really what they were looking for was just more control over front-end customization. They wanted that better performance, really to lead to higher conversions and more revenue. They also wanted to avoid replatforming. They didn't want to leave BigCommerce. They just wanted a front end that was decoupled. And their marketing team had also worked with WordPress in the past, so they were familiar with that as a CMS. And being that it was well supported and familiar to them, it seemed like a natural fit. You can see kind of the performance results there on the screen. And I'll just read the quote from their marketing manager, Rob. Using Atlas, we built the fastest, most performant MMA site in the industry, future-proofed our tech stack, reduced our IT expenses by keeping our existing backend, that's on BigCommerce, and then we were able to reap all these benefits without changing the way they do business. So that was really why this was a win-win solution for them. And the performance improvements, I think, really show that it was the right decision for them and what they were looking to do. So let me talk more about what a blueprint is. So it's a concept we have in Atlas. It's really like a starter kit of things. We call them blueprints, but it's a way to spin up a fully functioning headless starter site in under 10 minutes. It's got a demo front end, which you can take and reconfigure any way that you want. It's got those pre-configured headless WordPress tools, as well as a site template as well. So you can use this to, one, learn the Atlas platform, follow our best practices, but you can also use it as a starter project for any headless Atlas build that you want to launch. And as mentioned, you can, if you want to set up a free trial account with us, you can deploy this blueprint and use it as a great way to learn and see what's possible with the platform. As it relates to the BigCommerce integration, we took this basic idea of the blueprint that we had on Atlas for maybe the last year or so, and decided to create a specific blueprint that integrated BigCommerce. And we wanted to use that for the purpose of the Combat Corner site launch so that they could use it, but also to make available to anyone that's interested in learning Atlas, agencies that are building multiple projects and that are looking for ways to get started faster with headless commerce and WordPress. So it's got our GraphQL plugin, our Atlas Content Modeler plugin, which I'll cover, as well as Faust. That's our Next.js-based front-end framework. All those are actually open source as well, so you can find those on the WordPress.org directory if you're interested. And then what we've built special for this is our Atlas Commerce blocks for BigCommerce and our Atlas Commerce connector that enables us to get the product content directly from BigCommerce into WordPress and available to the Atlas front end. So that's kind of the setup here. Next, I want to walk you through, it's roughly like a 5-minute demo that just shows kind of like the end-to-end user experience of actually getting this up and running. So let me walk you through it. All right, so we're going to start here in the WP Engine user portal on the Atlas page. We're going to create a new app and start with a blueprint. So from this page, you can pick the BigCommerce Blueprint over there on the right. So you just select that. You can view the code in GitHub if you want, as well as preview our demo site. But once you've selected it, you'll need to connect it to your GitHub account. Just a quick authorization step there. Because what we're going to do is we're going to copy the code from our Blueprint repo to your GitHub account. So you'll want to create a repository for that. Choose your region, and then we'll hit Create App. Now this process for the video I've sped up. It takes about 5 minutes to build all this out. So we provision the WordPress backend, we build the front end NodeJS Atlas code, and then deploy the front end. So once that's done, we're going to go into WordPress. You'll see over here on the left, the BigCommerce connector. And this is where you're going to enter in your BigCommerce API credentials for your site. Once you've done that, we'll start the product sync. And this process really doesn't take that long, maybe a couple of minutes at most, especially if you've just got a few products. And you'll see that I have a disclaimer down there on this page just about the nature of the sync. So it's just an initial sync. You don't need to run it again in order to catch updates from BigCommerce. We're using a cron job as well as BigCommerce webhooks to ensure that anytime you make a change on BigCommerce, it's going to be reflected here in the WordPress content. But we go through this initial product sync to get the products available to WordPress. And then you'll see once that is complete, we can see all of our BigCommerce products are available to view here. And we'll go into one, and really just what I want to show here is all the different fields of data that we have available to work with. And this is going to be important when we move to the content modeling step. But for the purposes of the blueprint, all this is going to be set up for you. So now we're in the Atlas Content Modeler. This is a plugin that we've developed at WP Engine for content modeling. And you see here a bunch of examples. So all these come packaged with the blueprint. And they're really intended for you to, help you as a starter, right? Help you learn. So this is going to be used for building out our product detail pages that you'll see on the front end. You don't actually have to set any of this up yourself, but it's all available there for you to kind of take and learn from and kind of use for inspiration. Okay, so let's go to the pages, the WordPress pages that come built out as part of our headless front end. So here's our home page. It's just a basic homepage. We do have if you're familiar with WordPress at all, we are using Gutenberg blocks to showcase these products on the homepage. We use our Atlas Commerce blocks in order to do that. We have a couple of examples there. So you can filter these by different category type, whether it be featured or on sale. So those are available. And I would say think of blocks as an alternative to content modeling. And that'll make more sense when you go to the front end. Here on the plugins page, just want to show you kind of what we have installed. It's things that we already talked about. Our open source plugins plus our BigCommerce connectors. So here on the home page, you're going to see our Atlas Commerce blocks with that data that's come to WordPress and available to our front end through our BigCommerce connector. So using the blocks on the home page, and then on the shop page and the details page, we are using those content models that I was showing you. So all these are React-based components that are available on the front end. We're using that Faust.js, Next.js-based framework to build all this out. Here is our headless cart that I've added a product to. So we're still on Atlas, and it's only at the point of checkout do we redirect to BigCommerce. And you can see that in the URL bar up there at the top. So here is what you're looking at on the screen right now is really what you get out of the box. So again, kind of basic starter site for you to start building with, to use again just for learning more about the Atlas platform, how we've integrated with BigCommerce, and yeah, that's it in a nutshell. So you can spin that up for free by creating a free trial on just go to wpengine.com, look for headless WordPress, and you'll see the free trial option, and then you'll want to deploy the BigCommerce Blueprint. Again, you can get all this done within less than 10 minutes.
This is so great. And we'll be sure to include the links in the description of this video. So for anyone who's interested, it'll be really easy to get over there. This is so great. I love that it's intended for people to learn and to get familiar with what you guys have to offer. I think these are increasingly important offerings for everyone to have. One question that I have for you, Bryan, is, in your opinion, why should devs that are building on BigCommerce use WordPress Engine over one of their other options? Like, what do you think really sets you guys apart?
Yeah, great question. I think it really comes down to what you're looking for, like when you want to go headless. There's a lot of considerations, right? And we kind of differentiate ourselves from others out there because we're kind of an all-in-one solution. We host both the CMS as well as the front end, and we connect all of those parts together. So kind of from the get-go, it's one vendor that you're working with instead of multiple. I think like when you delve into the headless world, people start throwing terms like composability at you. And they're like, anything's possible and everything's possible, and that's awesome, but it's also overwhelming. So I think if you're looking for like an all-in-one solution, especially one that's based on the most popular CMS in the world, look no further than what we've built at WP Engine with Atlas.
Awesome. I love that. I have one more question, and then I know Steven has a few to follow up. Does going headless with Atlas create the same theme development freedom that WordPress is known for?
I'd say yes and no. Yes, in the sense that you are free to build, whatever you want on our Node.js front end, however you want to use it. We support a number of different, pretty much any front end framework that you want to use. I mentioned that the ones that we've built, Faust, is the one that we recommend just because it's tightly integrated with all of our headless WordPress plugins. And it is based on Next.js, but you can also use Gatsby or Svelte Kit or whatever you want to use in terms of that. So in that sense, you have complete flexibility and freedom. I think like one thing that you do have to be mindful of is WordPress is no longer your front end. When you go headless with WordPress, you use it as your content management system, and it's still great for that. But the plugin ecosystem that you might be used to in WordPress, a lot of those things, at least the front end things, are not necessarily going to work. There are some exceptions, right? Like things like Yoast can work great on headless sites, and we've actually got on our DevRel site, we have a list of a number of supported plugins that work on our Atlas platform. But as far as WordPress themes, those don't really exist in a headless case, and that's kind of getting back to your question. So if your experience with WordPress was working with WordPress themes, those don't really work in this context because you have complete freedom to build that front end on our Node.js infrastructure, and you're using WordPress as the CMS.
Awesome. Yeah, that makes total sense. You have more freedom than before, it sounds like.
That's right.
Awesome. All right, Steven, take it away with your questions.
Well, for me personally, and I'm sure others out there, I would kind of like to know, like, what was the journey of development with Atlas, like the ideas and process of going through the development journey from start to finish, and where in particular did you ideate and start first, of like kind of as that North Star of this is what it's going to be?
Yeah. So we got started with this headless commerce kind of integration concept a little over a year ago. And that's really where my involvement started. Prior to that, Atlas has been around for about 3 years now. And without delving too far into like the history of Atlas, it really grew out of demand from our customers. Some of our biggest customers were looking to do headless implementations. They wanted more complex use cases supported by our platform. And the only real way to do that was to offer a headless decoupled front end from the WordPress backend. So that's really where it started. It was just, that's what customers were looking for. You may have seen that some kind of on the BigCommerce side as well, just as far as like the move towards headless in the market.
Right.
As we got further along in the journey of Atlas, customers like Combat Corner started coming around and saying like, hey, we love WordPress. We're shopping around looking for a headless front end. We've got a BigCommerce backend and are looking for the right technology stack for what we're trying to do. So that's when we became kind of engaged with them on this. We worked with Click Here Labs, who is an agency partner of BigCommerce as well as WP Engine, kind of on this project. And we used them really as kind of our first use case to move into the headless e-commerce space. So we've learned so much over the last year, but it really started with those problems that I mentioned that Combat Corner was facing on that case study slide, which was they needed more flexibility from the front end. It's like, okay, well, we can offer that. They were looking for more content management type tools that are native to WordPress. It's like, well, we know how to offer that as well. And then they were really looking for the performance benefits that they could get from a decoupled front end, which is what Atlas is all about. So we knew it was going to be a good fit, but I think and that was our starting place. But it was really through working with Click Here Labs, who actually built out the site, and determining like, okay, what are they going to need? Like, how are they going to get product content to the front end? That was a weekly call we had with them to go through the process of kind of developing the integration with BigCommerce and the API integration to WordPress, as well as that blocks plugin. And then we also realized that here's a perfect way for us to kind of package up our next blueprint. This is going to be a more common use case for us. Here's the first example of that with headless e-commerce on BigCommerce. And we really just used it as an opportunity to get this blueprint out there. So it was a kind of a constant collaboration for upwards of a year, especially with the Click Here Labs team.
It's great. Like I could totally get behind that. With the big move towards headless, it was a big push on I think a lot of ends. But I mean, something that I've seen and actually have worked with in Atlas is how seamless the transition was from getting that set up, as you said, 10 minutes, and it was such an easy move where I think a lot where people have caught up to now, it was a lot slower way back then. One thing that really was a lot of interest to me was with your product, with the products being uploaded and you have your content modelers that come in, you can work with based off the product, all the product data that's being pulled in. I was wondering if you could go into a little bit more on like how that process works, and in particular, if like developers could create new content modelers outside of the ones that are imported in to work with in like a unique fashion in tandem with what is being called in.
Yeah, absolutely. So the ones that we looked at in the demo, the content models that were built out were really just for the purposes of our shop page and our product details page. So you're free to use that Atlas Content Modeler plugin to create any type of content model you want. We also have another tool as well that does something similar that those that are familiar with WordPress probably know about, and it's advanced custom fields. It's another WP Engine product that works great with Atlas. It's very popular amongst the WordPress builder crowd as well. So that's another tool that you can use. But yes, you can essentially use those, and they're both WordPress plugins. So open source. You don't have to be an Atlas customer to use them. So go check those out because they can support any type of content modeling or custom fields for the purposes of building out pages. And in the case of ACF, you could use that for a WordPress front end as well as an Atlas front end. So a couple of different options there for building out that content.
That's great. That's great. That is one thing that I've always found great about, especially with WordPress, is those really great group bulk edits, easy, no code that it just saves so much time. So yeah.
That's it right there. It saves time. I mean, I think sometimes internally, within like the engineering team, like we kind of wrestle with these are developers that are building out these sites usually, and they know how to do all of this stuff without all of our tools, but it's all about that time savings. Move faster. Like if we can kind of automate the process or make the bulk edit easier, or make it, the copy and paste of it all easier to create these content models or build out these pages. That's where we want to help builders, is with just getting them up and running as quickly as possible, and let us take care of the boilerplate stuff so that you can spend more time working on the really interesting and innovative headless type front end builds.
Yeah. And speaking as one of those developers from, the mid 2000s, we appreciate you doing that.
It's great to hear.
Yeah. That is all my questions, though. Katie?
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you, Bryan, so much. This was so great. I think our developer community is going to be really interested in this. I mean, like what you said, anything that saves developers time and lets them focus on interesting problems instead of solving the same problem every day is a huge win. So thank you so much, and we'll see you guys later.
Thank you.